If you haven't checked out the Inner Wealth Podcast Facebook group on Facebook, I would encourage you to do so. So we've got about, I don't know, 1,200 members in the podcast group right now. And not every day, but most days, I'll try to put some, some, I don't know, question to create some conversation, some discussion. And all of that is meant to drive growth and a higher understanding of yourself and what you're after and what you want and what's in your way. And I really do just look to just get some engagement within the community so that we bond and we connect and we we do life together a little bit. And with the topics and with the content really being around this podcast, but also, and that usually happens on, Thursdays and Fridays, but during the early part of the week, just to drive more engagement, to get some conversation going, get some interaction going, to get people doing life and doing business together. But on Fridays, so the beauty of the podcast group is that on Thursdays, the new episode drops. And on Fridays at 10 a.m. Central Time, right now I'm currently hosting a little 30-minute live Zoom session where we unpack the episode that dropped the day before. And so there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on behind the scenes in that podcast group to really drive community, to drive engagement. And I'm trying to get the listeners and the consumers, the audience of this podcast, more engaged in the ecosystem of that Facebook group to drive some connections. All right. So I would encourage you, if you love this podcast episode or if you love this podcast, go look up on Facebook the Inner Wealth Podcast. And just request access to join and come jam with us and let's get some discussion going. But this morning, so there's sometimes I'll have a couple episodes that are, in the library and they're scheduled to be published. But I've been running a little thin lately, and what the reason, I'm being more, I guess, in the moment in terms of I'll create a podcast episode during the same week that it publishes. And what it's done is it's given me the ability to be a little more present with what's happening maybe in the Facebook group or, on the social media world or somewhere in the sphere of influence of Inner Wealth and Inner Wealth Global and myself and my team. So be more responsive in the moment. So this morning, I just simply asked a question in the podcast group. I said, hey, today I'm going to record. And what topics would you love me to cover? And there was a host of really cool topics, and I'm going to record podcast episodes about some of those topics. Maybe not all of them because they don't fall within the realm of the Inner Wealth Podcast. But one podcast episode, I guess, suggestion popped up, and it was really cool, and I want to get to it today. One of the listeners, and his name's Scott, he jumped in and said, hey, how about purpose and creating a life around your purpose and stepping into your purpose and starting to live a life on purpose and to impact in that way. And I was like, man, what a great conversation. We haven't talked about purpose in a long time. And as I like my gears started to go to work to try to figure out how to best talk about purpose. And then I went on a run this morning, went on an awesome run. It was, it's about 33 to 34 degrees. It was nice and crispy. And man, it just felt really good. But as I was running, I was putting this podcast episode together and just starting to understand what I'm going to teach. So I think there's two parts of really stepping into your purpose. There's two parts, and we're going to go over both of those parts today. But I want to go back to, there's the pre-2016 Mike Kitco and there's the post-2016 Mike Kitco. And the pre-2016 Mike Kitco was about one thing only: make as much money and do whatever it took to make money. That was it. It was about chasing income, chasing titles, chasing authority, and technically, literally living a shitty ass life for the chase for more zeros and for more commas. And listen, it wasn't a very happy life. It was a very prosperous life, but those 16-hour days doing shit that I hated and going places I didn't want to go and doing things I didn't want to do, and my family was in chaos, and my career was in chaos, and my body was in chaos. It was just, there was just nothing happy in my life. Not my bank account was doing well, but looking back, there's and from what I've learned since is there's so many ways to make money in this world. Like, you don't have to do shit that you hate. Like, that's the only, that's the one thing that I that sticks out. You don't have to do what you hate in order to make money. You never have to do things that you don't like to make money in this world. Money is a happy consequence of creating impact and being of service and being of value in this world. Money isn't the purpose. Money is the happy consequence of being on purpose. But if you go, before 2016, I would have told you that my purpose was to make money. And looking back, it wasn't. The purpose was to destroy myself. That was the purpose of the first 3 years of my life, is just to figure out how many ways I could possibly destroy myself and how many ways I could possibly make myself as miserable as possible. And obviously, when in 2016, when it all fell apart, first of all, I got fired in 2014. Second of all, I got fired again from in 2016, and that's when I got to put the wheels back on and I got to reinvent everything in my life, and that's why we're here, and that's why you're listening to this podcast episode, because I like transform my life and hit the reset by trying to figure out what the hell the first 43 years actually represented, and there was a common theme. I just wanted to see how much punishment I could inflict on myself. And I don't punish myself anymore. I go for a run, but it's a fun run. I love running. But post 2016 is all about being on purpose, being of service, creating impact, building a business, serving people, seeing results with people, spanning the globe, my voice being listened to around the world, launching books, publishing books, growing my mastermind, seeing my clients and the people that I work with, seeing them thrive, celebrating, seeing winners win, just celebrating winning. That's what the themes of my life after 2016 have really been about, is how much impact can I have in the world? How much can I do what I love with the people that I love? How much bigger of a difference can I make by expanding my business and expanding my reach to help people be empowered in creating more wealth, more success, more happiness, more freedom in their life, according to what they want for their life, not what other people want for their life. That's been the theme. And really, it comes down to two things, guys. All right. So 2 areas that we're going to dive in. First, we're going to talk about the tools that you have to live your purpose. All right. We all have tools to live our purpose. Now, this is, sometimes people get hung up in the tools when they're thinking about their purpose, but that's all they are tools. You have a set of tools, and everyone has a set of tools. Now, when you're if you're like me and you're a reader, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and when I'm running, I was listening to an audiobook this morning. But when I'm, I consume a lot of awesome wisdom in the world, and from authors that I love. And Gay Hendricks is one of my favorites. And Gay Hendricks wrote a book called The Big Leap. And it just happened that I was listening to The Genius Zone this morning, which is another Gay Hendricks book. But if you get a chance, crack The Big Leap. It's a great, awesome book. And I've done a podcast episode on that. Crack that book. And there's one piece that Gay Hendricks talks about that. And then he wrote a follow-up book called The Genius Zone, but he talks about the genius zone. He talks about your zone of genius. Now, everyone has one. Now, if you're anything like me back, before 2016, I didn't think I was special in any way. I didn't think I was talented in any special way. I didn't think there was anything that distinguished me in any way. Like, I guess I just rejected myself on a regular basis, but it's almost like I refused to believe that there was anything valuable or anything good about me. And that created a lot of pain. It created a lot of hardship. It created a lot of frustration, and it created a lot of shame in me. I just didn't think there was anything distinct about me, um, worthy of note. So, but in the big leap, and this is where this opened my eyes to really what was distinct for me and what was special for me. And I didn't see it up until this point. But when you see it, you can't unsee it. So listen to what, you know, I'm going to unpack a little bit in the big leap about your zone of genius. Your zone of genius is are the skills and the talents that you love to use. They feel really good when you're using them. You enjoy doing them. You get exceptional results. They're effortless. They're easy. They're things you get to do. You lose track of time. You're inspired. You do these things and they feel so good, you don't want to stop doing them. Now, if you're anything like me, you're going to say, well, there's nothing special about anything about me. But what I didn't realize up until that point is speaking was a zone of genius for me. And since it was so easy for me, since it was so joyful for me, since it's something I love doing, I didn't think that there was anything exceptional about it. Because since I rejected myself, I just said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And if it's easy, then it's not valuable. If I enjoy it, then there can't be anything exceptional to it. And I had squashed myself and I rejected myself so much. I didn't see that the thing that was my greatest asset in the world, since it was easy, since I enjoyed it, since I loved doing it, it was my zone of genius. And I wouldn't, like, back then, I was trapped in so much internal suffering and so much internal rejection. I refused to believe that anything that was easy was valuable and anything that felt good was worthwhile. And I refused to believe that if there was something that I was talented in that other people weren't. And I lived in this story. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And when you identify your zone of genius and you realize what's really easy for you, what's natural for you, what you get great results at, what's you just enjoy doing, you get lost in time. You might even say, well, that shit's so enjoyable. Why would I get paid for it? And my question is, those things are so enjoyable. Why wouldn't you want to get paid for them? Those things are so natural to you. Those things are so freaking seamless for you. Those things are so effortless for you. That is exactly what you should get paid for, because there is value in those things that are that natural, because they are your unique genius. I am a great speaker. I am a great writer. I create content. I share my voice. I have no problems telling somebody my truth. I have no problems telling somebody what my perspective is. These are my unique genius. These are things that have always been very easy and very natural for me. But I didn't understand that things that are natural, things that are easy, things that are effortless, things that you get lost in time, those represent your genius and you're really good at them. And that is your place of monetization. Now, when you identify your unique genius, your zone of genius, when you identify that, you can see that the skill sets, the talents. You can see the tools that you have to actually create your purpose and to live your purpose. That's step number one, is to identify your unique genius and the assets that you have to help you on that path of realizing and embracing and creating your purpose. That's step number one. Without that, the purpose, it's going to be really difficult for you to realize your purpose and to step into it, because those are the tools that you have in your tool belt to be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Now, that was step one for me. And again, go grab The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. The Big Leap, L-E-A-P, Gay Hendricks. Go grab that book. You won't. And the follow-up that I was reading this morning was the Genius Zone, which really talks about how to get in and stay in your genius zone, your zone of genius, your unique genius zone, whatever you want to call it. It's called by many different names. That's step number one. And if you don't do that, the rest of this is going to be really difficult. Step number two, and the second part, is purpose. Now, money is not your purpose. You can say, I'm creating wealth for my family. And listen, I'm just going to call bullshit. And I, you know what? I don't subscribe to the my family is my why. Bullshit. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I think that's a way of saying that, you know, it's kind of putting somebody else before you so you can feel good about yourself. Your family is your why. And I'm just, I don't buy it. I don't buy it, and I won't believe it. Your family is not your why. That's living your life for somebody else, and none of us are meant to just live for someone else. And if somebody says that their family is their why, it's because they feel good when their family's taken care of, and that means it's for them. They feel good when they provide for their family, so they're making it about them because they want to feel good. I hope this makes sense. It has nothing to do with their family. It's that serving up wealth and success, being wealthy and being successful for your family is a means of your fulfillment in life going up. So it's everything to do about you. It's not for your family. Your family just gets the happy consequences of you like being fulfilled. So what purpose really is, and this is why when, like, if you ever get a chance, go to my website, www.innerwealthglobal.com. And on the front page, there's the Choose Your Destiny Full Vision video course. Full video course. Go grab that. And inside of that, it gives you the 3-step process of creating anything you want in life, in clarity, certainty, and commitment. Number one is clarity, is getting really, really clear about what you want. And part of this is about your purpose. But there's 4 parts to getting clear. What you're going to get clear about. It's your health, it's your wealth, it's your impact. And this is why I call it impact, not just success, but it's your impact and it's your relationships. That third one is really your purpose. Impact is your purpose. I would challenge you and invite you to understand at a deeper level every day for the rest of your life that you were born perfectly equipped to leave this world a better place in some way, shape, or form. There is a difference that you were born for that only you can impact the world in a special, unique, impactful way. There's no better way to say it. There's a needle that you are here to move in the world, and only you can find it and discover it. Now, if you look, most of this world, 95% of the people on this planet, probably more, are in survival mode. They are just trying to get by from day to day, from week to week, from month to month. and they're just trying to build their bank account. They're just trying to build their empire. They're just trying to build that whatever out of ego and out of unhealthy pride and out of whatever. They're just focused on themselves. And that's why they'll always stay in survival mode, because the thing you want will not solve the problem that you have. The problem you have is you think you have a problem. And they're so focused on what they want and building and accumulating and achieving what they want, they never turn their attention to what the difference it makes in the world. They never focus on the impact, the positive difference. It's all about what's in it for them, and that's what keeps them locked and trapped in survival mode. And as soon as you turn your attention to what difference am I here to make in the world? What positive impact am I here to create in the world? What value do I have to give the world? That's when you really understand the purpose for your life. And this is so awesome, because that unique genius skill set that you have is perfectly created to be able to serve that purpose. And that's when you realize universe, God, life, whatever the fuck you want to call that thing that's out there. I don't believe in Sky Daddy, but that thing that's out there that's guiding this whole ship is awesome. Whatever that force for good is that's helping us on our path, it has taken you, giving you a unique set of skills and talents and desires and a way to make a difference in the world, made them easy, effortless, transparent, valuable. So just you get lost in time by doing these things. That's your equipment. Those are your tools. And that same God, life, universe, whatever it is, has given you this desire inside of you when you get past the selfishness of just living life for the benefit of yourself. When you get past that, when you see that you are born for a purpose to make a difference, to actually move the needle in the world, you will see that that genius zone, those skills are perfectly created and crafted to serve that purpose. And it's almost like you were always blessed, but you never knew it. And you always refused to see it, or you even refused to look at it. See, this is what's happened over the last 7 years of my life, is that the first thing that happened in my life is that the first thing that happened good is that I actually got to see that there's something valuable about me. There's something valuable about the skills and the gifts and the talents that I have. There's actually something like powerful and unique and exceptional and significant and tangible that I can use as a force for good. And there's this desire that I have. There's this purpose that I have. There's this yearning that I have every single day to empower and enrich the lives of other people. The reason that I wake up every day is to help people realize how infinitely powerful they are in taking control of their life and their circumstances and being the owner of their life and never the victim of their life. By taking control of their circumstances, by understanding how to transcend their challenges and their obstacles, and how not to ever be a victim ever again, through accountability and ownership and absolute personal responsibility, never claiming victimhood over anything. And if you want your excuses, you really don't want to see how powerful you are. You refuse to see how powerful you are. And as people understand how truly powerful and magnificent they are, as people start to see and experience how blessed they are, and how all they need to do is get clear about what they want in this world and the impact that they want to leave in this world, and their life starts to really, really get rich successful, and happy and free. And as like with every individual that I work with that steps into that, with every individual in the world that steps into that, this world becomes a more magical and more loving place. Because a person who realizes they are infinitely powerful, like the fear starts to quiet, the doubt starts to quiet, the worry starts to quiet, and joy takes over. And when joy takes over, the world becomes a more loving place. That's what's always been in my life. I've always, even in corporate, I always worked to empower people to become more authentic, feel more valuable, feel more intentional, feel more purposeful, feel more impactful. I've always, no matter what role I had in the Marine Corps, in corporate, I always had people, I was coaching people to become the very best versions of themselves, the highest, most empowered version of themselves they could become. And that's the yearning that's always been inside of me that's been screaming to get out. And now I get to understand this zone of genius that I have to do that. And it works. My friend, you have this same, not the same purpose as me, not the same zone of genius as me, but you have a zone of genius and you have that yearning inside of you. And you are here on purpose. You are not a coincidence. You are not a mistake. You are not an accident. You are on purpose. You are intentional, and you are designed perfectly to serve that yearning that you have inside of you. But only you can find it. The question and the challenge I have for you today is, are you willing to find it? And when you do find it, are you willing to fully step into it? Because I have run into and come into the awareness and come into the energy of people that understand they're here for a bigger purpose, but they're so consumed and controlled by fear, they keep themselves seeking security. And in order to have true freedom in this world, you must give up the search for security. But when you step into your zone of genius and you start to serve your unique purpose, you will see that freedom was always your birthright. Nobody can do this for you. Scott, thanks for the question. Thanks for the topic. I look to continuing to engage in that Inner Wealth Podcast Facebook group. Guys, if you're not there, jump in. Let's start to enrich this discussion. Let's start to make this community a real community. Let's start to make this a worldwide voice.